Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. This is Wind Reel and Print. My name is Kevin.
And my name's Ryan.
And we're happy and excited to introduce a very special guest to our show today. This is Josh. Say hello, Josh.
Hello, Josh.
Welcome back to round two. You're back to fight again. Fight
Yes.
another day.
And another really tense.
Oh yeah. This is gonna get ugly.
Yeah.
I want to let the audience know that we are on really bad terms since the last episode. A lot of bad blood. There's a lot of shit that's went down.
Public
This is going
beef.
to be public, super public beef. Like maybe even like whatever's more than public.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what that is. Galactic beef.
Galactic.
I got galactic beef.
Sounds like a
That's enough of that. No, but genuinely happy to have you, Josh.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming back.
I'm excited to be back. It was such a blast last time. I had to return.
Yeah, and I think before we jump into the episode that we recorded.
Oh yeah.
We've talked about so much on this podcast with you, and I think it was such a great. I kind of told you this in the pre-meeting, but it was such a great way to frame the podcast going forward, because I forget what episode it was.
11.
But it was early. Yeah, it was 11. There we go. Nice. 1-1. And we're now on episode 80 something or other. So it really framed it kind of literally, because we were talking about that, and really gave us a good jumping off point. So thank you very much. You are competing once again
yourself.
for the against yourself for best guest. So good luck to you.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I don't think I could match up to, because the last episode was something I was so fixated and obsessed with, whereas here it's gonna be more freewheeling, but I hope there's some fun insight or something cool.
Yeah.
Definitely. I'm excited.
Yeah. To introduce what we're going to talk about today, we have like a little mini topic with a selection of movies regarding that kind of thing. And so what we have for you today is this kind of like film theory concept of black and white movies versus color movies, and like what the use of each of those things mean.
And I'll also, just to jump in, it's not only just black and white versus color, it's black and white and color.
Exactly.
In a lot of these instances, and what that means, which I think is a very interesting aspect of this episode, is like, it's all these movies incorporate all of them. It's not even just like a fight between them, but that knowing the two meanings behind those makes these even more interesting and crunchy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We have 4 movies here today.
Well, five.
Five movies.
Kind of. Yeah. 5. Yeah.
How did we select these? I know I pitched in a couple, but I guess getting the like broad spectrum of use of black and white and color usage throughout the history of filmmaking, because we got some like silent movies, we got some modern stuff, some mid-century representation. So I guess go.
I think like before we throw it over to you, Josh, like we had we've never shared this with anyone. We showed Josh the spreadsheet of all of the films and all the episodes we want to do. It's our secret place where all of our dreams live. Of all of the episodes to come, one day as we're old folks, hopefully. Still talking about movies. So we let Josh see the spreadsheet. Oh, he wasn't allowed to take it home.
No.
So he it was like being in the library, couldn't walk away. But scrolling through that, this was one. I think this was the first one that kind of caught your eye, and then there were a few others, but this one just kind of hit. And I mean, I think what Kevin's getting at as well is like, what is it about this topic that kind of like excites you, or was like this kind of initial gotcha?
I think so. With black and white and color, I think the big thing that's sort of like traditionally thought is also with a lot of things, like with a lot of film technologies, is we sort of assign a timeline to these things. So we sort of assign like first there was black and white, and then there was like, I don't know, filtered films or hand painted, and then there was color film, right? And I think what's interesting now is that now we don't need it, almost like now that timeline, now that time scale is not really like the choice of black and white, and the choice of color is now, barring some specific like censor things, you can all do in one camera, you can all do in one workflow. So it's really interesting to see, for me, like the history of when a project or a film uses both, but also, for instance, like A Trip to the Moon, which we're going to talk about, uses both black and white and color. Poor Things also uses black and white and color, but it's radically different in the process, and it's and I feel like you see it in the way the filmmakers deploy them. So those are kind of the things. And then also in relation, we shot a feature that I directed that Kevin was on the crew for, and there was also a lot of consideration with color and black and white. So that was super fresh in my mind of all these decisions we had to do and finagle basically. And yeah.
I think something interesting that I came across during like kind of my research with all of this is that color has kind of been there since the beginning of film as an option. Like, yes, it was more difficult, of course, but it's always kind of been a choice. Yeah. And more it ended up like taking up the whole thing. I never really thought about that. But then as I watched A Trip to the Moon, the colorized version, like he just charged more for people to buy the colorized version of the film, which is just kind of interesting. He had like an assembly line of like 15 women that were like coloring the film stock. And so it's crazy to thinking about the timeline that we're all kind of like used to is also like just black and white and then color. But there's always been like the choice to do it. And then it's kind of slowly become a more and more creative choice to do color. It was like creative to do color. And then it's now kind of more creative to do, or creative in a way, to do black and white, which I was interesting going deep into the Wikipedia of this thing. Yeah.
I also want to I think what's interesting to bring up here is as we're talking about timelines and things, I'm just reminded of, there's a Marianne Doan article who's this film theorist, and forgive me, I don't remember at all the book or the name of the article or anything, but she talks about how we think of like filmmakers in the past as such a naive sort of creature, but her focus is on film sound and film, and she talks about how you can actually sort of see that sound was an anticipatory technology in film history, because you actually, her main target is acting styles. That acting styles changed drastically when we went from sort of non-sound to sound being the dominant form, and that they were anticipating that silence was understood to be kind of an absence in film technology, so they had to sort of make up for it in a lot of ways with performance and set dressing and things like that. And that transformation, in her conclusion, suggests that they saw a future with sound that they could not grasp yet. What's interesting to me about what you say about the color is that it wasn't anticipatory. It was like always there. so it's like,
isn't that crazy? Yeah, it's very interesting. Yeah. And I think they knew like it'll probably get easier, but it's always been an option. Like people were able to see color films in one way or another in the early, like in the 1900s, you know, like, which I did not realize. I kind of thought so much of this happened later. Crazy.
So, first we have A Trip to the Moon.
1902.
Ooh, top of the century.
Yes. You've started from the past. Georges Méliès, I think. I said it in a French way. Yeah. And I think that's probably good enough.
Yeah. Kind of like one of the first sci-fi movies and like an influence on the rest of cinema history. And then I have this one, 1966, Daisies. Czech New Wave movie, directed by
Good luck.
Vera Chitilova. Ooh.
Yeah, that's probably right.
I tried that. The next one was Barry Jenkins' Medicine for Melancholy.
2008.
Yeah, cool.
Yep.
Thanks. I was gonna say 9.
Let me just handle the dates. I'll just do it. I'll do it. I think you'll be able to get the next 2 for sure.
Yeah,
but that's fine.
Kind of like Medicine for Melancholy, his kind of unheard featured debut. Kind of a mumblecore based in San Francisco.
Yeah, I almost need like something to pop up letting me know it's a San Francisco movie sometimes. Like I was not expecting that. I was like, what the hell? And it's cool. Obviously, I love that, but I was not expecting that at all. I'm just like, oh, whoa.
Yeah, he lived
it's pretty cool.
In Oakland and I think in the city for like a couple of years.
Nice. Yeah. It was very local.
Yeah.
Which was a cool thing about it. And we can get into that at a certain point. But yeah, no, I was like, whoa, there's some really interesting parts of it.
Yeah, like commentary on the city.
Yeah.
And like that's how you know he did his research because it's like so in the mud. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the fourth one was 2023's Poor Things from Yorgos Lanthimos. Which was like, the Oscar Don. I said that he was like very random with the black and white. I feel like that was kinds of kindness I was thinking of.
Yeah, probably. Because the Poor Things black and white is extremely intentional.
Yeah, sure.
with its usage, and then drops it at a certain point, very purposefully. Yeah,
I think if we
want to talk random, we can maybe talk about Daisies, but I think we'll get there. Yeah.
And then lastly, we watched Josh's film, Mary Kwon, Mary Kwon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great job, Josh. Yeah. Great job.
Thank you.
Right on.
Yeah, kind of like a chamber piece, psycho thriller. Yeah. A lot of poetry and stuff like that.
Very cool. In a really cool environment too.
Yeah.
Like in a log cabin in the forest. It's like
hell to shoot it,
awesome.
But
I can imagine. I saw all of in the credits. I saw the transportation people, and I'm like, that's Godspeed. I imagined there was a lot to move and a lot to do.
Yeah,
there were some snow days.
Oh my god, that shot of where the car is outside, and you're looking at the window, like above the car, and the snow is falling.
Yeah.
Oh, the glorious, absolutely glorious.
That's probably one of my favorites as well. It's really pretty.
Oh my god, it's so pretty, and I was so happy you held on it for a long time. To surprise, which was cool too. I was not expecting that. I was just like, sweet, I just want to hang out here, like. You could easily put lo-fi over that shot.
That's true. That's true. Just keep it on a loop.
And it would work. Yeah, keep it on a loop. It's jamming. I love it.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the collection of movies that we have. I know, Josh, you might have some stuff to say. I definitely have like a lot of theoretical things about like black and white and color and like its relationship and whatever. So
totally. And I feel like our thoughts might
intersect
almost certainly. And then I'm going to be in the middle to just wade in the wave pool and just feel what it feels like. And then, I'll just start it will all shoot out my mouth and some verbiage that makes no sense. I'll come up with some new words.
I definitely have some thought. There's gonna be some controversial stuff, I feel like. So you might have
we'll bleep it. We'll bleep it.
Yeah, you can just like censor. You don't even have to cut it out. You can just like have a long beep over everything. So here's I'm not gonna bury the lead. Here's sort of like the connecting thread I sort of see through the use of black and white and color through these films.
And before you get started, are you including your film in this? Or are we just talking about before?
That's a good question. I think I'm going to leave my film out just because I don't think I have a good sense, good basis. But you can tell me. You can tell me if that fits into this sort of schema.
Okay,
but I think sort of the use of black and white and color in all of these, in the 4 films we watched, are sort of indicative of like the political machinations through which they were produced in a lot of ways. Judging, like, varying from like the obvious, which is, I feel like, for instance, Medicine for Melancholy has a lot to say with its, like, it has one color sequence that's obviously very like in your face about an idealized San Francisco. And then I wasn't sure about this myself with that film, but there was also that kind of dreamlike sequence where he's describing his job as an aquarium installer, and I thought that looked like true black and white, because the rest of the movie is sort of like in a weird,
it's just desaturated space,
right?
Yeah, exactly. It's just kind of weird, and then at some points it feels like the saturation goes up a little bit. Like, it was hard to tell. It felt like it was kind of all over the place, and maybe it was from a technical standpoint too, because it's loose. It's it's a young filmmaker getting their start, and so naturally you're going to have things like that. So there might be that, but yeah, definitely that one serious color sequence at the front end, and then serious color sequence in the back end. Were like very obviously like blasting in your face. Yeah,
totally. And with that film, actually, I went to a talk with Barry Jenkins when I was going to college, and he was talking about that movie, and there's that line the main character says. I forget Wyatt Cenac's character. Does anyone remember his name?
Oh, I don't. I can find out real fast. His name is Micah.
Oh, you're such a pro. But Micah, he talks about how, you ever think about how Black people only make up 7% of the city? And Barry Jenkins said a film theorist came up to him and he was like, and Barry Jenkins had said in the past that the film was desaturated about 93%, so only about 7% of it was in color. This film theorist sort of like came up to him and was like, "Was that intentional? Like, did you make the 7% like the literal like saturation ratio, like the ratio of Black people in the city of San Francisco?" And Barry Jenkins apparently was like, "Not intentional." At all.
Whoa.
But I still think it's important, and I think he tells that story, and I think it's part of the sort of like thing for him. So I think even though it might not have been intentional in the process of shooting or post-production, like it's interesting. It's interesting that there's this linkage, and he also finds it valuable. Yeah, that there's a technological sort of link. So we have that. We have, I guess, and then I'll talk about Trip to the Moon. I think. I can't remember. I never remember if it's a trip to the moon or trip to the, but it's just trip to the moon, right? It's a trip to the moon. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. So an a trip to the moon, I think there is, just like you mentioned, Ryan, just like the mechanisms of hiring 15 to 20 women to color your film frame by frame, I think is a very sort of like hidden political labor type thing. That's more just in the industry of it, right? Yeah. And the creation of it, and kind of like how in the 70s and 80s it was also like a lot of women in post-production. Like it's like that sort of continuation still. I think maybe it's a little different now, but like sort of shifts. So that's another sort of like
interesting
thing. Poor Things to me was, that movie is interesting. I enjoyed watching it, but there is sort of a sense of like, this is a big studio movie made by an art house Greek director, and to me it felt very sort of like there's sort of like a liberal feminist outlook that privileges like the self-liberation above all else almost. And I think we see that through the use of the black and white and the color, where it's like her world opens up, right? But then she sees sort of like the underprivileged and the poor, but that's not a huge, that's sort of more of a character development moment, and sort of like there isn't a large mechanism for that. But I think then like the big thing that comes from me, the thing that might get a little controversial, is Daisies. And okay, I want to give a really big disclaimer to Daisies, where this is my second time watching this film in full, but I've seen sort of like the film in various iterations, probably 3 times. I did
really,
I did a little report on the Czech New Wave because I did a study abroad in the summer in Prague, in the Czech Republic.
Whoa, that's
my last year of college.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Whoa,
I actually didn't spend.
Cool.
I was a financial aid, like coasting off, like Pell Grant kid, and then that last semester I was like, I'm just gonna fucking take out.
Oh my god, that's
then, like,
awesome! Damn, that's so cool.
That was awesome. My report wasn't good, but I got to watch a lot of cool movies, Daisies included. But revisiting the movie and reading about it more, there's sort of this sense that, and what's really the popular narrative around Daisies is that it was censored by the Czechoslovakia Communist Party and was sort of like, totally banned and like wasn't in circulation in any way. And then with the liberalization policies of Dubček, who was sort of like the later years prime minister of the Czech Republic, the movie got to be seen in its glory. And then that's why it has the popularity it does, which is true. That end part is very true. Through the liberalization reforms, like the film got sort of a second life and sort of got more international acclaim, and that's why we sort of think of it as a Czech classic, an art house classic. But I read a little bit about sort of like what that actually meant and the mechanisms, because the reason that sort of like these trendy film websites like to give about why Daisies was banned is sort of a like sense of like the party censors didn't like it because it was kind of grotesque, and it showed a lot of depiction of food waste, which was like a big like we had like sort of like shortage of food supplies like during an economic downturn, so they wanted to be more respectful, and so they just banned it. Which is kind of a half-truth when I looked into it more. Right. The sort of nuts and bolts of it was that the state actually financed this film. And the state financed this film. The reason the film got made is because the state financed it. The director, I can never pronounce her name.
Well, Kevin did a bang-up job. Now I'm going to try. Vera Chytilova.
Wonderful Chytilova. Then apparently, because obviously to get funding, you have to get approved. The film got approved. But because of the improvisatory nature of the film, was not at all the thing that went through the process, right? And so when it was premiered, it was a big thing of like, okay, well, this isn't what we paid for. And by a ban, I feel like ban like sort of is a tent word for a lot of different things that sort of happened. But in this case, it means it didn't get international distribution, basically.
Oh, that's it.
But it actually played really well in domestic Czech theaters. And I think it's just that the distribution was not paid for by the party, which I do think is a form of I do think that's a censor like technology, kind of like a lack of distribution versus shutting a film down. Like that's a thin line, but it's not what I was picturing, and it's not what I think I think most people sort of picture.
I there's so much I need to learn more, even about like Eastern European Soviet era filmmaking, and I've gotten, I think we mentioned this when we were doing our pre-meeting, I have such an interest in like the mechanisms of funding of films in this era by these governments. And I think that plays so much into it, because I've always wondered, like Tarkovsky's story is different, obviously, but I'm so curious what all these things are, because we live in a time where it's kind of easy and people like to paint a lot of these things in a bad light right out the gate too. I think that there's it's easy to say banned about these things, and then to also take it a certain way and think it's all like strong arming and stuff,
100%.
when it might just be
lack of support,
which still, lack of support, which still does something. But no, it's interesting. I think there is a lot of stuff I need to understand too.
Totally. And I think pulling it out further, it's like thinking about it in the context of now, like, okay, if that is a censorship technology, what does it say that like every film that every studio film that even mentions like the CIA or like the Department of Defense has to get approved and read and like sort of like understood to be like not, to get government like subsidies and financial support from the state.
Well, you're not supposed to look there, Josh.
Yeah, that's true.
I think it'd be a good idea if you stop talking.
Yeah. Before your podcast gets blown up.
Yes, exactly. Excuse me.
So, connecting that to the black and white and color connection is all that to say, like I love this film. I think it's fantastic. And I've had an adoration for this film for a long time. But like there is a sense of subversion that I'm not exactly sure is subversion. like there is an actual sort of like the black and I think the black and white and color form really maybe drives that home for me, where it's very anarchic, it's very sort of like in your face, and I think this is by design. I'm not saying like they didn't know what they were doing. They certainly knew what they were doing, but what they were doing is almost a zero, which is like not like a worthless thing to aim for artistically. But I think we see it in it's particularly the ending sequence with the dinner banquet where they're setting up, and it's all in black and white, where they're sort of eating and like setting out the table, and then they're sort of like in this reverie, and then there's like this flash where they're both named Marie, right, or something. They both have the same name, I think. Something like that. And
Marie 1 and Marie 2 is what they're
so
called.
Blonde Marie knocks over the glass breaks, and then Brunette Marie, who I kind of read as more of the audience surrogate character, but obviously that kind of goes out the window for a lot of the sequences. She kind of wakes up, and then it goes into color. So it's almost a more traditional way of using color in black and white in that specific moment. Kind of reminded me of Wizard of Oz a little. Just not in form, but in sort of like structure.
Not in form? Not in form?
I know, shocking. And then
that's shocking.
And then we return to black and white when they start cleaning up. And to me, I'm just thinking out loud about this, but there is sort of like I think that shows that that it's certainly a little bit of grandstanding and maniacal by design. But I think like just looking at the black and white and the color aspects of all of these films and the way they interplay with each other sort of reveals something, which is like the political aspirations of these characters and the filmmakers, whether we know it or not. Like Poor Things, I would argue that's not sort of like an ideal thing to get across, but that's certainly what I got from watching that movie.
Yeah, it's interesting. I have so many. Kevin, do you want to jump in and say something? I have so many things I could jump. Okay. One, I wanted to bounce off your. I think that's all really, really great, and it brought so many things to my mind. And there's one like overarching thing I want to explore with you, especially Josh. Oh, and Kevin, of course, too. Oh my God, why did I do that? Why did I say it that way? I definitely don't. I'm going to ask Kevin to be seated. I'm going to ask Kevin to be seated during this night. No. There's you mentioned Poor Things and how it used color, and maybe in a sort of in some ways a simple way. I think it's really obvious in the way it uses it. If we take it in the way where it's kind of like liberating, it's getting outside, it's finally being free. There is one other color shot that doesn't feel like it fits that, and I didn't necessarily know what it was trying to say, and so I wanted to just see what either of you guys take for this. The only other color shot was during the black and white sequence. There, and before she finally gets out, there's one scene where I think it's when she's talking to Willem Dafoe and finally finds out about who she actually is, and or her mother, or however you want to put it. And it's where we see that it is Emma Stone on the bridge before she jumps. It's in color, and it's like the one shot besides the ending. And I'm curious, maybe either of you, what you think, why you think that is in color.
I know.
Oh, you know.
I know.
You know.
Yeah. Like,
I'm curious to hear what Kevin knows.
Like Yorgos,
he likes, he knows Yorgos pretty well.
He was talking about his movies in some video thing, and he was literally like, we chose to shoot those on like some specific film, and we only were able to shoot it during those scenes because there was no sound and the camera is really loud. So it allowed us to like shoot this without sound. I don't know about the bridge, but specifically like when she's underneath the like surgery and everything, like,
oh sure,
they shot on some sort of film. I forget exactly, but it was because the camera is like loud.
So you're saying, but that's the black and white. That's black and white portions, not color portions.
Colored portions, right?
Because the thing with the head is in black and white.
I can't remember.
I think there was one scene that was like in.
Oh really?
In color.
Okay, because I only remember two parts, but that's okay. I'll take your word for it, Kevin. I won't push back too much, but go for it.
Well, in terms of like meaning making, I think that's a really interesting, because I totally forgot about that until you mentioned it, and it's so. I remember in the opening, I was like, it's so blue, and I feel like just shoving it into this sort of scheme, it's like. That's also a moment of like personal liberation and like and just total like, except it's suicide, right? So it's like and
the
so
ultimate choice.
I think that reveals sort of the both like something that's really effective in the film itself, but also something that's to me like not indicative of like a sort of like society changing or like subversive or like communal like spirit, is the notion of like the personal, freeing the personal. That could just mean killing yourself, you know, like, and I think that's sort of like that's sort of what it. And now that you're saying that, I'm actually like, wow, that's a really smart choice. That's like really.
but there's like two sides to that, because I also think I love that angle of it, because they show the suicide at the beginning, which that's in black and white. The beginning's in black and white, but it's all from the back. But it's not until we go later and see her face that it's in color. So it's interesting. They show the suicide in two different ways, but I think it's once you know it's her, then, and that kind of maybe it hits that point home even harder. At that point, it's not just any old person. I don't know.
Kevin, does he mention at all like if they shot this on film, right? So it must have been
they had to make a choice.
They had to make the choice beforehand. Okay, gotcha. I was just like, okay, so they had this all mapped out. Yeah,
and this all is kind of leading towards like this overarching thing I was trying to come up with before we started this podcast. Is the line between happy accident or like experimenting and like deep deliberate choice, which we've now run into in just our conversation so far. Barry Jenkins, happy accident that it was the 7%, and now it's developed meaning. And I think even Yorgos Lanthimos in Poor Things, with all of the different camera angles and with all these different things, I think a lot of that was kind of random and crazy in a lot of ways. And then you start to develop meaning, very Kuleshov effect style, by just like watching it. And then Daisies too, I think that is so anarchic that you start to develop meaning into it. And it's just something I explore, especially as someone who does editing. And I know you edited your film, Josh. Like there's something interesting about like doing it and then like realizing. I think another great example is like we talked about the poster for your film, which is great, and I recommend everyone check it out. Didn't discover things until we were having this conversation about it too. Like, and it also has deep meaning. It's interesting how these things can be, and I don't know how much deeper to pull from that, but there's a lot. I always question just like how much meaning we're supposed to pull, and I think David Lynch as well. That like he's a favorite director of mine, and I love all of his films, but he also never really got around to explaining a lot of his things intentionally. So, but I think there's also a part of that which is just like he just kind of did things and let them kind of happen. Though I think you can pull meaning out of it. I don't know. I'm just kind of spitballing.
Well, switching from like, I don't know, amateur critic mode to like filmmaker mode. And like, I really, so watching Medicine for Melancholy, I have a little bit of history. It's not really history, but like, I actually tried to watch this film back when Moonlight came out. And I only got through like 10 minutes of it until I was like, I can't deal with this color situation. Like it was actually kind of a blockade for me. Whereas watching it this week was like a big, like, this is amazing. Like this looks beautiful. Like I thought it looked gorgeous this time, but I remember thinking like, I don't like the way this looks and I don't want to deal with this. And I think I was also putting a lot of unfair things onto that film where when I first watched it, I was kind of like, oh my gosh, like they didn't care about the shot construction or the you know, like the design of a shot. Or watching it now, I was like, I can't believe I ever thought that. I thought like, so for such a micro budget film, which it was made for like what, $10,000 or something, like,
oh wow,
something crazy. And I'm like, I can't believe the amount of thought and intention and just like, and like the just the intentionality of filmmaking that was in this film. And and so I think that speaks to what you're saying, because and honestly I think the color had to do with that a little bit, where I don't think first time watching I didn't even see enough of the film to make the judgments I was making. It was because of the color that I was like, oh, they didn't give a shit. Like they are. But then watching it now, I'm like, oh, and then there's like a couple sequences where they pointedly go into color or they oversaturate or whatever. And it's like, oh wow, there's real thought.
Yeah. That reminds me of Bamboozled. I don't know if you've ever seen Bamboozled, Josh. Spike Lee. It's shot on like DV, like it's very early 2000s digital. It's so ugly in a lot of ways, but then it chooses at time to go to like full frame film, beautiful and it has intense purpose to it. And that doesn't happen, I think, Kevin, until like 3/4 of the way into the movie that you actually see like they put on the show finally. And then you're seeing like the actual thing. Oh, I'm telling you. Yeah. Talk about the sleeper hit of this podcast for me was Bamboozled. It is it's such an interesting thing. It's exploring like blackface in entertainment. And it's, oh my God, it was so good. But also just like, it frustrated me for a while. And I, as someone who's kind of I'm really obsessed with quality. Like I need to have I need to watch things in 4K as close as I can get. I need to have like, I'm so obsessed with it. And I'm not going to lie. It does. It is a blockage for me, much like Medicine for Melancholy was for you a while ago with that thing. It's something I need to just shut the fuck up and keep walking it and get over it in some ways. Like I'm going to try, like, for example, like I got the Eyes Wide Shut Criterion. They did a brand new remaster and it's beautiful, but for whatever reason, the disc was glitching. And I ended up having to watch it in like 1080p, not even the new version, because I was watching with my partner. And we were like, all right, we want to finish watching it. And I was down. I was like, God, it was such a nightmare. But it's all figured out. I was able to fix it and everything like that. But it's one of those things where, like some of these things can also just cause like blockages as well to our like inhibitors to us like moving deeper into these things. I don't know. Interesting. Kevin, do you have anything like that for you?
Okay. So
yeah.
Deep breath.
Yeah.
I'm getting real excited.
I think Josh and I can keep talking.
Well, no, you guys are hitting on a lot of stuff that like I kind of want to bring to the table too.
Yes.
In terms of like how like film technology kind of affects our experience watching these movies, and like how it applies like these kind of like physical visual like textures to this thing that we do, right? So you guys always mention like color was a choice like from the beginning of film, right? Like I think that's a huge part of like filmmaking and being a filmmaker is like you have this full range, this like really deep toolbox, like what can you use to say what you're going to say, right? Like color, black and white, and now you have like DVR or like VHS, you have like film, different film stocks, you have different digital cameras. You know, it's like these are all paintbrushes and like textures that we're applying to like this thing, you know? And so like with black, like another thing I had mentioned to you earlier, Brian, of Bertolt Brecht and like this idea of distancing. And many directors reference black and white as like the most inherent like distancing effect within film, right? Like you're immediately acknowledging that this is a movie, like as soon as you're seeing the black and white. And I feel like this applies to like the camera choice and like the lenses, like as soon as it breaks any sense of normality, you're already like removing yourself from like the immersion effect within a movie, you know? And you're already like thinking about these things in a different way. And I really like what Josh says about like the politics and like what that is in, how that is influencing the choices in all these things and stuff. Because to me, I feel like with black and white and color, it's this relationship between like reality and non-reality in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
When we're looking at like films that use these sorts of mechanisms, and like how we break from reality or shatter the rules or whatever. And so, you know, I feel like a lot of these movies kind of do that. Mary Kwon definitely has that, I feel like, in a lot of ways. But yeah, that's kind of like my main thesis of like the way the artifice of the film is like affecting our kind of like relationship with reality and with the film itself.
Yeah, that's really well put. I love that because it's like there aren't many formal elements of filmmaking that are designed to sort of be hostile in that way, right? Where it's like, oh, that's like a really like sharp dagger pointed right at me of like, it's not an it's an anti-immersive technique, right?
Yeah.
And I love that. And I think that's part of why, I mean, like, that's part of why I really wanted to do that in Mary Kwon, but also why I like seeing it in movies myself. I had such a good time watching all of these because it was like, shit, now I have to figure something out. You know, like now I have to like think about something, you know?
Yeah.
Like why?
Yeah. That was like watching your film, Josh. It was that same thing. You have a scene near the end that changes to black and white, and it definitely leaves like, I kind of thought everything was kind of figured out and everything like that. And it kind of left you something to chew on, which was really interesting. I think it's a very interesting tool. And so, and I mean, in some ways it feels like this entire topic makes so much sense to the previous conversation we had with you, Josh, about the frame and about noise and all of these things. It all is just this layer in between that I've now like I during the recording of this podcast, I've learned about what Brecht means. That took me so long to figure that out because Kevin kept saying it. And this all feels very much like that. In this podcast, I think we do lean towards loving things that kind of force you to, and maybe it's just because we're movie lovers, that we like really like to be kind of reminded a little bit that this is a neat little thing that can be studied and moved around and looked at and watched over and over again, that I think I add to the element of a lot of these films that I really like.
Totally. I also think about like these films and the way they're shot, and the way, like, this is just anecdotal, but I just feel like I hear about cinematographers like locking in the black and white as they're shooting, and not even shooting a color version if their project is in black and white, just so that someone further along in the post pipeline doesn't like fuck with it, or like some agency or some producer is like, oh, they're
like, oh yeah, because I could see so many people being like, ew.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
It's such a disgusting thing, and the audiences, more or less, I think a lot of people roll their eyes. I know back in the day, I used to like black and white was hard to watch. And I think for a lot of people, black and white is hard to watch because it's just like another layer on top of the candy.
And
like it's wrapping it in vegetables.
Yeah. Student film black and white can look really bad too.
Oh yeah. But it's like, it's that easy button. I mean, it's just like, it's all of a sudden your movie looks a little better. It's like adding a letterbox to your film. It's like, oh,
the cinematic look.
Yeah, exactly. The cinematic look is like that black and white. But when you don't think about it, sometimes it loses it. And I think a question for you, Josh, it's I'm guessing when you shot the black and white scenes of your film, you shot them in color, correct?
I think so. I think technically yes, just because it was an Alexa Mini on set, and I think it was like so I think it's like it will just get everything, like in terms of color information. But everything was lit with a black and white LUT.
There we go. Yeah.
Which was interesting for those scenes. Where it got really confusing was we didn't shoot any of the film at nighttime. So the film was all shot during the day, and
it looks really good. The day for night looks really good.
I agree, I was kind of surprised by it.
I know it almost feels like it had no blue in it. Like it was so much more kind of gray, which feels so much more realistic than I think a really boring basic day for night, which is just like up the blue and then make it a little, drop the exposure. But this was like, it felt like dawn or dusk or whatever. I really liked it.
Totally. That's all credit to our colorist, Tyler Markovich, who
the color amazing. In the film is so good.
Who pulled off some magic there. But what's interesting was that for a lot of those bright daytime scenes, the camera team had to also go into black and white LUT to get focus better in the exteriors. I don't know the science behind that. I'm not a camera guy, so I'm not really sure how that works. But it was interesting to see like, oh, we're using a black and white LUT, but they're for entirely different purposes, like on set. And if there were moments where it got confusing for me too, where I was kind of like, damn, that I don't know. Like I gotta check the script to see.
I'm gonna trust you. Exactly.
I gotta check the script to see if this is a black and white shot or it's just for the focus pull.
Interesting. Was there anything you don't have to get into specifics, was there anything that when you went and started editing that you decided like, oh, actually I'd like this in black and white, and it wasn't your intention beforehand?
Nice. Honestly no. I think just because this movie, and also like not to shit talk my own project, but
please.
But one thing that I kind of regret is actually having such structured rules around when to use formal techniques. So I had really, really sort of like for myself in the writing process, like really strict notions of like when a certain look will be applied and when black and white versus when color versus when black and white with the weird textured grain would happen.
Yeah.
All those things where now I'm kind of like, oh, maybe I should have sort of put it in the blender a little bit and like played some things out in different ways and just because Ryan, honestly, that's not even a thing I thought about until the very end when I actually was like, like maybe I should have just played with it a little.
Yeah.
Granted, though, we had an extremely short timeline, so it's not super conducive to that kind of stuff.
I mean, I think all of us that have done things, we look back and it's like the thing that is the hamper of everything is time. Like that is, but it also is what creates these things too. You do need a box in so many ways in order to make really creative decisions.
Yeah.
So it's just something you take on to your next one, which you'll definitely do. Which
True.
Is yeah.
I don't know. We'll see.
No, yes. I'm putting it out there. I'm saying behind the scenes, Josh said another feature film is coming very soon.
Right
up. Yes.
Oh my God.
Very exciting.
Well, it was. Yeah. I'm still like reeling from the exhaustion. Like, I don't know. Like, oh my gosh.
Living in the
Kevin, was it chill for you? Was it? Yeah. Was it a fun time?
I mean, I like working on features. I feel like I have a good time.
Cool.
Like it's always an enjoyable like experience for me.
Yeah.
And I mean, Josh, you lived with it from writing all the way through the editing process too.
Yeah.
Like that also like I that's how I have done things in the past, and I see myself doing things in the future because you have so much control from beginning to end.
Yeah.
And so I can very much relate to living in that thing.
Yeah.
And was there any part of you that was ever going to have someone else edit it? Or was it like you knew? Because I know you had an assistant editor as well.
I had an assistant editor who I actually bumped up. His name's Drew Roderick, if anyone's looking to hire from this podcast. But he... Actually, Kevin, I think you've worked with him maybe a couple times. But he was my assistant editor who I actually bumped up to give him a co-editor credit because he actually did make some creative contributions in the assembly process, which was really helpful and really nice. I think, though, honestly, before this, when I was just making shorts, I was kind of like, why doesn't everyone just edit their own stuff? It doesn't make any sense to me why anyone would hand it off. After this, though, I'm like, I totally get it because because I wish I had a bit of a gap. I wish I had time away from it. So like
that's what it feels like. Yeah.
I wish I had time between rap and then seeing the assembly where I could have just someone build a first cut and like because I also don't like being the person. What I learned about myself actually in this process is I don't like being the person to determine in post best take, you know, like and I was like,
that's interesting.
And I did a total 180 because before that I was like, I know what they are, like I will put it in. And now I'm like, I wish I had a little bit of space like in between those two processes.
Well, how do you now? We're going all over the place here, but I'm just going to keep poking you because I'm very curious at the end. What do you know? Like, what are you looking for in a best take? Like, what is a best take for Josh? Like, is it just you feel it and then you just say or is there like a certain thing that is of interest to you? Either from the actor or the camera or what?
I think a lot of it is, and Kevin can attest to this, I do very few takes on set.
Oh, okay.
Well, I love working with Josh.
Yeah, I do. We pack in as many shots as we can in a day. And I'm like a 4 takes max kind of person, like when we're actually going with it. In the editing room, though, in the bay, as an editing bay, not Bay Area. But,
in the bay.
In the bay. I feel like I don't know a best take until I see the next shot, which is kind of a catch-22 because it's like, it's a huge catch-22.
How do you get started?
Because then it's like, okay, well then you have to look through the whole movie and see. But I think I'm looking for the relationship between either what came before or what came after or both.
Good answer.
Because a really great take is, to me, kind of what you say.
He said, good answer.
Good answer. Yeah. Like, I think
you passed.
Like, to me, like, I don't know what a good take is in isolation. It's almost impossible because a super hot take is kind of worthless if it doesn't play with the rest of the scene. So I think that's
a good point.
Kind of like, it's kind of my thinking. Easier said than done, though, of course. And And a lot of times my instinct is actually to go really towards the more quieter performance or camera movement or whatever. And then like throughout the process is when I learn, oh, we have to actually bring some of that energy back. So we choose maybe like a different take that had a little more like of that gusto. Because I think there is a thing, this is a tip to all the filmmakers out there, like if you're doing everything yourself, you get so lost in the weeds. And my instinct is to be like, oh, everything's too loud, everything's such a big choice, but it doesn't read that way to everyone, you know, like to so that it's your job to like sort of tone down the subtlety and like let things sort of like flare up a little bit as they may.
Kevin, what's your thoughts on that? Because I know you've directed a number of things too. What's your what is your best take, or what are your just general points that are associated with that?
Yeah, I think Josh was a great answer, because it really depends on like what the thing is asking for, like what the scene is, what the scene needs, and like I've had similar experiences of like we have our list of best takes and we line them up and it doesn't work, or like the shots don't line up, and so you have to just like renegotiate. Okay, we're gonna have this here and that, maybe there's a different thing here, and we take the audio from this take but use that take visually, and like you're kind of splicing all these things together randomly depending on the process. And for me it's just like going back over and over and making sure it's like smooth and makes sense.
And Kevin, what's your relationship to editing? I know you have someone that you work with closely. Yeah. Do you ever want to dive in deeper and get your hands on it more, or are you kind of more hands off? I'm just kind of curious.
Well, on smaller stuff, I edit my own stuff. And I feel like, I don't know, I feel like I'm trying to grow as a director. So I'm trying to like grow out of these habits. But early on, I was very like formulaic and like, these are the shots and this is how it's going to be edited. Like barring continuity or whatever, like kind of already knowing how it's going to be put together, like from the beginning. And so like, I was kind of already thinking of editing while we're shooting and while we're writing it, kind of.
Yeah.
Also good answer.
And I have no answer. I'm just here to listen.
Well, for indie filmmaking, it is really frugal and efficient to shoot like that, because you don't have a lot of time to like experiment and try things out. So maybe you can like structure your filmmaking process to be more improvisational, but like a lot of the times you really just need like really good scheduling, really good, like this is what we're getting and that's all we're doing kind of a deal. I know like the Kwon brothers are like that from an early stage, and like I know Barry Jenkins maybe I think said something about that on Moonlight, or like one of his first things of like just needing to be economic with like how you're getting a lot of these things.
I'm going to do one more crazy question and maybe we can jump back into it. But speaking about Barry Jenkins and the interesting thing, we've talked a lot about mumblecore on this, and I just want asking another film loving guest, what are your thoughts on mumblecore? Do you have any thoughts on that genre? Have you seen many of those films, Josh?
I really love, it's been a long time since I've seen a true mumblecore picture, I think. But like, I remember seeing The Puffy Chair when I was like maybe 15 and it blowing my mind. And there was Funny Haha, which was really cool. But I think I liked the Duplass Brothers stuff a little more, just because it was a little more like popcorn almost, and like a little more sort of like comedically minded, which I enjoyed. It's been a long time since I've seen those. I will say it sounds really frustrating as a working style now that I think about it, where like I think Greta Gerwig has talked about this, where when she was in that scene, she found it really frustrating, I think, as an actor to have to deal with scenes that were just like pages of improv. And like, I'm like, I would find that frustrating behind the camera, honestly. Like,
totally. Yeah. And thinking about like her early work with like Joe Swanberg, I think is his name. Like they were in a relationship together. I mean, it's there's so much more weight to those performances too. I can't imagine. What was the Joe Swanberg movie that we saw? The first one that we saw in the first Mumblecore? Nights and Weekends. Yes,
But
yes. That was
he was heavily improvisational versus like the other filmmakers. He was like used improv.
Oh, true improvisation. Yeah.
Like no outline.
Because Nights and Weekends is very, very loose, and even Drinking Buddies.
Yeah.
I mean that it certainly is loose, but I think what Joe Swanberg captures is that electricity between people, that chemistry between people, which is why I love Drinking Buddies so much. Like just all the wackiness of it all.
Well, actually, one thing I forgot to mention is, Ryan, you talked a little bit about like you need everything in 4K or what have you. This is veering a little bit from the color and black and white form like thing. But when we were shooting our film, early on, the decision was made to shoot in 1080, actually. And that was for logistical reasons, just like space and money for storage. But it was a creative thing of it looks different because the way an Alexa Mini sensor works is you can use old 16 millimeter lenses on it, but only if you shrink the sensor, or only if you use like a smaller portion of the frame sensor.
Okay. Yeah.
Which means you go from like a 3.4K, I think, to a 1080p. And I think that's sort of like analogous to the way, like, just our conversation about making formal decisions that end up, to me, like that formal decision means a little bit something to me, like later on, just the texture of the film is different than it would have been if it was like a 3K or 4K picture. So that's
it's interesting how it all, like, and I think that's the other thing, like all of these decisions end up becoming purposeful in the end. And I think the way you described, both of you, how editing works for you, which is it's dictated by, you could do all these things on set and still
not know.
You think you know what the best take, and still you are in there, and it all is determinant on so many other factors that you cannot control. Is kind of just the amazing thing about this art medium in the first place.
So I have a question. In terms of this, like your choices with design and like working with other departments, like how do you communicate these sort of like theories that you're having and like into like the filmmaking process?
I'll be honest, Kevin, I don't. I have them in my head, in my crazy little mind, and I think when it bubbles up is when I'm kind of like, can we try this? And when I say that, Kevin, when we're working together next, if I say that means there's something going insane in my brain that's like, okay, like like there's something, but you sound a little insane if you like explicate on it. And it just takes so much time.
Well, how are you coming, like all this stuff you're kind of saying to us, like, are you going to the DP and kind of like talking about these things, the technology?
Not in terms of motivation, but in terms of, this is why I think, like, because I'm not a cinematographer by any means, but I try to shoot small projects just for myself. I think, Kevin, you do too. I think we actually had a conversation about this on one of your things where it was about just knowing the language. So it's like, oh, I have sort of a lexicon that I can like pull out. My real weak spot is with lighting. It's really difficult for me to describe specific sort of like lighting situations because there's so many technical scenarios and different tools. But so I think having that language base, vocabulary for me is really important, just because I can also establish the shorthands in my mind of how something can be executed, and how something, I think one thing that I actually need to work on, though, something that I'm not quite proficient at, is asking for sloppiness is really difficult for me because these department heads don't want that. For good reason. They're if they want to put this
that's
on
like asking them to like asking them to not to also turn off a part of their brain too. Yeah.
And I'm really glad to have found collaborators who are, for the most part, understanding of when I'm like, let's just let something go soft, as opposed to no, we need to have the whatever, or let's have something blown out, or let's they're generally willing to entertain me on those things. And so I think that just learning the language for me is super important in terms of and I'm always trying to improve on that, because I can say as much as I want about what things mean, but if it's not executed, it's like, what is that? That's why you give a brochure card before your movie starts.
Exactly. With all of they read it beforehand. Everything you meant to film.
It's a stack
everything
of
you meant
cards.
To do. Exactly. It's like, study up. What you're watching, kind of irrelevant. Just use it as an appetizer for the book.
Just look at your phone at the email I sent.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. I have a video message and a 2-hour video message after the film where I talk about the intention behind it.
It's like VR.
Yeah, exactly. Ooh, interesting. I would not have gone there, but okay. Yeah, hell yeah. Cool. You want to wrap us out, Kevin?
Yeah. No, it's always an interesting conversation with you, Josh. Like talking about the technology and the form, the meaning behind it.
Oh yeah, that is a Josh thing.
Yeah.
For
sure.
Can't help it.
I mean, it's so important to like the filmmaking process of like, why are we making certain decisions and stuff like that, and being able to break down films into these sorts of terminologies and things. And another interesting bunch that was like kind of weird to watch.
I had such a good time watching these, and I had such a good time talking. This is so cool.
Yeah,
I know. Yes, we're one day we're gonna do a marathon. You set aside a whole day.
Yeah,
we'll watch 15 movies.
We should do a live recording. We should do.
Oh, I would love to do that. Yeah,
we should all be in the same room and record.
Yeah.
Yes, that would be a lot of fun. It might get a little crazy.
That's fine.
Kevin and I have tried to stay apart for a while now. It's starting to get a little wild. Yeah. Right on.
Cool.
Oh, one last plug. Is
plug it.
If any listeners are listening to this and they're interested in the movie we've been talking about that Kevin worked on and I directed, it's at Mary Kwon, all one word. Kwon is Kwon, Mary is Mary, all one word. Mary Kwon on Instagram.
Check it out, folks.
Follow it, and you'll see the cool poster Ryan was talking about.
Oh yes, that's reason. That's gotta go there.
If not for anything else, just that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's good enough, right, Josh?
That's good enough. I think so.
That's good enough.
I'd be happy with that.
Interact with the poster.
Yeah,
that's good enough. Cool.
When do we get to see it? And Nick, is there sneak previews coming, or what's the schedule?
Stay tuned. Hopefully the beginning of 2026 as opposed to the latter part, but you never know. That's why everyone's got to follow the Instagram to get updated on these things.
Ooh, yeah. Kevin's over here trying to get info out. Disgusting behavior.
Yeah.
Disgusting behavior. You know what, Josh? I'm so sorry. Kevin is going to be put under.
I understand.
This is not so.
Can't take them anywhere.
God damn it.
Yeah,
I really can't. Absolutely disgusting.
Go follow that Instagram. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank
That's
you.
That's more like it.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on, Josh.
Of course.
How do I do this right?
You say thanks for coming. That's a wrap. Goodbye. That's all.
Yeah. Signing off.
All right. Peace out, everyone.
Y'all have done 84 episodes or something.
Wind, Reel, and Print is a podcast by Salad Brain Productions.
You can find us on Instagram at Wind, Reel, and Print Pod.
You can also find us on YouTube, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts.
Theme song by Redhead Fred.
If you like the show, leave a rating or review.
We'll see you next time.